This is episode 4 of Go Team Score Points. Hi, Sam.
Hello. Good to be here.
So this weekend, I watched the Bucks versus the Celtics. Did you watch it?
I did not. I followed closely on Gamecast on ESPN.
Is that just like a text kind of update?
Yeah, basically. It says what the latest play was. Like Chris Middleton missed a shot, Celtics defensive rebound or something like that.
Okay, the reviews are in.
Yeah. I have some too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Love the intro music. I thought it was spam, so I deleted it.
Right? Yes.
I think I know too much about basketball for this podcast. And then this is from my husband, Jim, who has not listened to a single episode. No. And he said, I just don't find basketball that interesting.
Well, this is the podcast for him. Neither do you.
I know. And I'm his favorite person in the world.
Yeah. Top 10. Anyway.
Top 10.
So Emily came home yesterday and goes, she goes, I felt like a celebrity today. And my mind immediately went to, because you're married to a podcaster. And it had nothing. She looked at me real confused for a while. I'm going to read my mom's text to you about the podcast. I sent it to her and said, thought you might get a kick out of this. She wrote back, I listened to 5+ minutes so far.
Thanks, Mom.
And then she said, who is she? And you sound so good. I haven't appreciated what a good conversationalist and public speaker you are, which felt a little insulting. She had an insight. She gets to choose the Celtics people. She's a big Celtics fan.
Okay.
She gets to choose the Celtics announcers for each game. So remember we talked about that, how you can, so she gets to choose them. Okay. And she said, I believe one of the Timberwolves takers is particularly obnoxious. And that's it. The rest isn't that interesting.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I was thinking, so my two teams are the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. And I think the third team for the pod should be the Celtics, right?
Sure.
Is that your team?
They're the one that I pay the most attention to.
Okay, Chris Middleton's back after 2 ankle surgeries. The announcers talked about this as if it was like, pun intended, game changer. But I mentioned it to August and he was like, what? He didn't seem to think that Chris Middleton is that great.
Okay.
Also, he didn't play. I mean, it's his first back from, I'll give him a minute.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He's, he'll play his way into shape and stuff. I think, like the best that he's ever been in his career, he is that good. He's good enough to make a huge difference on that team. Particularly their issues are defending guards. They're not good at defending the other team's guards. And
that's the issue of the Bucks?
Of the Bucks.
Globally. They're not good at defending guards.
Good guards on other teams. They really struggle with that.
Huh.
And he's at his best, he's really good at that. In NBA years, he's old and coming back from 2 ankle surgeries that I don't know that he'll ever be able to move the way that he could when he was defending those guards so well.
That's tough. I think he'll be okay though.
Big picture, yeah. He's fine.
Okay, so for this game, they're at the Garden. And the announcers, I think, were from ESPN.
Yeah.
So your mom has people that I should choose when they announce?
My mom's like a big homer. She loves the Celtics. So like she doesn't like people who talk badly about the Celtics.
Noted.
Yeah. And she's like a fourth of our audience. So
I know.
We got to be careful.
Sam's mom.
Yeah. But for a nationally televised game, like on ESPN, there might not be an option.
So in the beginning of this game, before they really get started, they talk about the Celtics player, Peyton Pritchard. He's the 6th man.
Right.
And they talked about him like he was really good, but I think this was a pretty low-scoring game for him.
Brutal, right? He was not good.
I think so, but I was not paying that close. I did watch it.
Yeah. As like the analyst type people, which I guess you are sort of one now.
Yeah.
Start to like become aware of a player who's doing well, like Peyton Pritchard. They go from being underrated and there's like a millisecond maybe where they're properly rated. And then all of a sudden they're overrated because everyone's talking about how underrated they were. And that gets talked about so much until they're overrated. I don't know if that's happening with Peyton Pritchard. I think he had a good game today.
Okay.
And a bad one yesterday. But he's been really, really good for them.
Okay. So this broadcast, they're at the Garden. And even though it's ESPN, they are showing a lot more things happening in the arena. So they're at
during timeout.
Yeah. they're showing like the Jumbotron cam. They do this a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Someone in the audience that they show is holding a sign that says authentic fan. And I'm wondering, like, what is the threshold for authentic? Like, when do you become an authentic fan? Like, is this going to happen to me? Right now, I would say I'm a Nuggets fan, but only because that's where I'm from. I kind of grew up knowing that the Nuggets was a team in my city.
Yeah. Didn't feel authentic.
No, like I knew of Dikembe Mutombo only because I lived in Denver. That is it. So when do you think you become, like, when will I become an authentic Nuggets fan?
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
I don't know.
Like that you actually like it?
Or that you care about it?
Yeah.
And how do you like quantify caring about it enough to
be authentic? I don't know if it just comes down to a number of hours. I think like if you actually come to care.
I'm on my way.
Really?
I'm watching basketball.
Well,
number of hours. I'm putting in the hours.
What do you see a time in your future where if the Nuggets lose, you'll be actually disappointed?
So I don't know. The most interesting part to me so far is when I learn about the players. Like their backstories, they're very interesting. Like every person I've looked up so far, it's like, wow, they either if it was positive or negative, like it's so interesting. And I feel like that's what I find interesting are the actual individual people. And I feel like the dynamics of the teams change so often because the people move around so much.
Yeah.
So I don't really see how you can be an authentic Nuggets fan when, like, if they trade Jokic, for example, like that will change the team.
Right.
So I don't know.
You're rooting for laundry is what they say because whoever's in the uniform, you're rooting for them.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. I think I would guess without a team that you feel a strong affinity for, there will be players that you research that you'll always root for starting now.
Yeah, I kind of think that's the direction I'm going to go. It's like picking some players that I like. There's a lot.
There's a lot to like.
Yeah. Okay. My next note says, holy he's actually a leprechaun.
Yeah.
And his name is Lucky the Leprechaun.
Yeah.
How is this okay in 2024? Like, I know leprechauns are like not real.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like there's some like cultural.
Just to reduce all of Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of Ireland to Lucky Gold's end of the rainbow.
Anyway. Okay, Derek White's back.
Colorado's own.
Last time we were mentioning how they make different sound effects when people score. They do just say JT for 3. And you know what? In this game, that's basically all they said. That and Jaylen Brown. They kind of carried the team.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Yeah. Okay. Should we start a GoFundMe for the Garden so they can get the license to play more than 3 songs?
I'm fascinated by this because when I've been at the games, I've never noticed a lack of.
Here's why. Because during the fan time, this is why I noticed it that one time I watched the Celtics game. During the fan time, the timeouts or whatever, they're playing all different kinds of music so that people will dance.
Right.
And then they'll get them on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
During the game, though, they don't play music, but they do at the Timberwolves. They do at the Target Center. They play like the dun, 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 or whatever.
Where?
At the Garden.
Yeah.
During the game, like during play.
But at Minnesota, that would be like Nelly or something.
Yeah.
Huh. I like that.
Okay.
Wasn't that long ago that, well, I remember my dad saying how ridiculous he thought it was that they were playing music during the time that play was happening.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know, the last 10, 15, 20 years, that's a thing. In some ways, the Celtics are, if it's just organ music, it's a little bit more true to.
Back to the fundamentals.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very Boston.
During one of the timeouts,
yeah,
they bring on this dance group called Lil Funk.
Yeah.
Spelled with PH.
Yeah, pretty fun.
They were great.
Yeah.
They were all dressed like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas characters.
Oh, cool.
And they all danced. And the Grinch was, I think, the star dancer. And it was a little kid wearing like a full Grinch costume dancing hip hop.
It's a repeated thing. That's not the only time they get to go there. I don't know.
That group?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I don't know how. I feel like I've seen them there. I've been to maybe 4 or 5 Celtics games, but I feel like I've seen them there, and it's but I do wonder how big of a deal it is for them, you know.
It must be. Well, if they go a few times, I wonder if it's like something you aspire to, like, oh, if I could just make it, if I could just break into Lil Funk. I've been to like maybe 1 or 2 professional NFL games, Broncos games specifically. And one of the times I went, the halftime entertainers was this group of women from like the local jazzercise.
Oh boy.
They were all just out on the field doing a jazzercise routine.
Wow. That's a whole other thing. There's like 70,000 people at a Broncos game.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of eyes watching your jazzercise. I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
No. So Jaylen Brown and Jason
Tatum, yeah.
They seem to be the only people scoring. Now, we've talked before about how some people are professional scorers. So are these 2 professional scorers? Like, does the rest of the team know that my job is to block this guy and get him away so that Jason Tatum can score? Or are they thinking like, if I can, I get the ball to these 2 people so they can score? Is that kind of the idea? Or is everybody out there looking to score when they're playing offense, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. And you'd have to be like in the huddle to know exactly what they're going for. But I think that the NBA's changed a lot in the last, like the Steph Curry kind of like broke the math of the NBA that 3-pointers are worth more than 2-pointers. And if you get really good at 3-pointers, you actually have to make a lot less of them in order to score the same amount of points.
Right.
So now like everyone can shoot 3-pointers, all of them.
This is something that they talk about a lot. This is coming up all the time, that 3-point shots are way more frequent now than they have been in the past.
Yeah.
So this is Steph Curry influenced this?
Yeah.
And now everybody just like really works on that skill?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. So the Celtics are kind of at the front of this right now, where I think this year they're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of half their shots are going to be 3-pointers, which I don't think has ever been approached before.
Yeah.
So the base that's created by that allows people like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are freakish athletes and very, very skilled, to have a lot more room to just get by their guy, because all the other defenders need to be near their people in order to score. So I would not say that they're the only 2 who are like the professional scorers. It's not like 20 or 30 years ago, that would be a lot more true. But it is interesting. Some of the podcasts that I kind of keep up with, there's a lot of talk about, is this good? Is this product good? Is it watchable? Is it, marketable? And people lamenting that the way the game is being played is so different from how it was. I don't know if you've watched enough to have an opinion on that, but does it feel like when you watch, are you like, my God, stop shooting 3-pointers?
It amazes me every time. Like it just seems like an incredibly difficult skill to have.
Yeah.
Well, actually, every time anyone scores, I'm like, whoa, that was incredible.
It is.
Because even when they're close to the basket, like, you've got all these people on them.
Other big, strong guys. Yeah, totally.
I can't believe anybody scores in basketball.
Right. I agree.
And then the 3-pointer is so far.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way from downtown.
That's right.
Which I have a couple more.
I'm sure.
So you're downtown, and then people are still all around you, and then you have to like make it in. It just seems incredible.
So as a blossoming, authentic fan, this is good feedback for the league. If anyone's paying attention,
you're listening. Sam's mom. Tell the people. Oh, your mom stopped listening 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Tell the people that we have a new fan who's very impressed with the 3-pointers.
I am. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Keep it up.
But I'm also impressed with the 2-pointers.
And
the free throws. That's so much pressure.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's a lot. Okay. Middleton scores, and the announcers talk about how good his decision-making is. And they talk about decision-making a lot. How that's like a big part of being good at basketball is knowing what to do very quickly.
Yeah. Why did that hit you as interesting?
Because I think it's like a lot of physical skill. They talked about like just how important it is to know what to do very fast, like who to get the ball to and what to do with it. And I think it sounded complicated. And I didn't really think about how complicated that might be.
Yeah.
To know what to do very fast. Like the thinking part of it.
Yep.
There's a big thinking part of basketball.
Yeah, for sure. Watch Jokic and listen to the announcers talk about the decisions that he makes. He's like, he's a different level of processor.
Okay, at one point, as like kind of a gimmicky thing, they played several moments with Brook Lopez, who is a player on the Bucks. He's 7'1".
Yeah.
And it was like a hot mic kind of thing. And it just like was little clips of things he says to people. And they were emphasizing like how very, very friendly he is and that everybody like really likes him. And I just wish they had these guys mic'd up the whole game. I would love to hear what they say while they play.
Me too.
Okay. Says Lopez, the better screen he sets, the more he will be open. Big men know that. You set up a good screen and you'll be open for the pop. But
yeah. So all that means the pop, do you know what a screen is?
Nope.
So person dribbling the ball has a defender on them and you basically go stand in that person's way, the defender's way. You're on the dribbler's team.
You stand between the person with the ball and the person who's trying to get the ball.
Yeah, usually kind of stand beside the person who's defending the person with the ball. And then the person with the ball dribbles past you and that person needs to make a decision about whether to follow you, like above the person, like kind of behind you, or go underneath the screen to try to get you on the other side.
Got it.
A pop is when you've set the screen after the defense makes their decision. Sometimes both people go with the ball. The person guarding the screener and the person guarding the ball, sometimes both of them end up with the person with the ball, which leaves a screener open, like Brook Lopez, so you can take like a step away and then have a wide open shot.
Oh, okay. So if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, sets a good hard screen that makes it hard for the defense, then he'll have room to shoot.
Shortly after that, Tatum dunks. And that's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
I know.
It's very showy. I love it. Okay, please describe a pick and roll.
And so instead of like popping backwards to take an open shot, you go to the basket to get a layup after you set the screen.
Okay, Lopez gets called for traveling, and the look on his face is classic.
Oh, yeah. He was incredulous.
Right. Okay, speaking of Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
I looked him up because I was curious about who he was because his nickname is Splash Mountain.
I've never heard that.
Get ready.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny that everybody has a nickname in the NBA. So he's Splash Mountain. He's 7'1".
Yeah.
He has a twin. His maternal grandfather played in the National Industrial Basketball League of the Milwaukee Allen Bradleys. This sounds like it was probably in like the 1950s.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is the regional Milwaukee. It was in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Which I think it's great that now he's playing for the Bucks.
Full circle.
You're not going to believe what I found out about him. He is a Disney adult.
Is that like a thing? You have to tell me about this. I don't know what that is.
Okay. Disney adults it's exactly what it sounds like. They're adults who love all things Disney.
Oh. Who feel about the way that we expect children to feel.
Yeah. So these are adults who really love Disney. They're all in for Disney. But do you know what happens when you have millions and millions of dollars and you're a Disney adult? I'll tell you. You live in the Golden Oak community, which is not a retirement community, but it's houses that are like in the park or like next to the park. And I don't know if this is California or Florida. I think it's Florida. His house has secret passageways because he designed his house or worked with an architect probably. His house has secret passageways into the park.
Wow. Is he a self-proclaimed Disney adult?
I think so.
Is that how it works?
I think so. He lives there.
Right.
So I think he doesn't hide that he loves Disney.
Right. I mean, I suppose for the things that a person could be into who has that much disposable income, it's kind of harmless. Well, if you don't care about like workers and stuff, it's kind of harmless.
Right. But he's not like gambling.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Right. Considering what we have all been exposed to in the news lately about celebrities and the things they're up to. This is great.
Right.
Okay. But I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So the announcer said he could have had a layup. I don't even know who he's talking about here. He could have had a layup, but that's the problem with today's NBA.
Right.
I hate anybody who says things about like kids these days. I can't stand that because they're not that different. We're all the same. So is this like a sentiment of like basketball should be more about fundamentals?
No, I think it goes back to what we were talking about with like the math of taking that many more 3-pointers has made watching the game less appealing to, to people who don't like watching people shoot 3-pointers.
What do you think about the 3-pointers and the math and the new NBA?
Well, the things that work to win are what they're going to do. Right. That's their whole job. So if it's more efficient to shoot that many more 3-pointers, they're going to do it. It feels a little bit like their job is to win. They're there to win. Not to say that the way they're winning is not entertaining, is kind of mixing what they're aiming to do.
Right.
But the other thing about it, and there are more conversations in the basketball world right now, is that a lot of people who consider themselves big basketball fans don't watch any basketball. Like might watch some highlights, but I haven't watched a live second of basketball this year. Other
than it being very time consuming because these games are so long.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's mostly it. Okay. But it's interesting that I don't feel like I need to watch it to follow it. Like I can check a box score. I can watch highlights.
You can listen to this podcast.
Can read about stuff and then look it up if something interesting, like out of the norm, happens. So I don't mind that they're shooting a lot of 3-pointers, but I also am not watching and being like, man, this is getting old.
It's like how I consumed in the past current events. Like I'm not watching C-SPAN.
Right.
I just read about it.
Yeah. You're kind of doing it backwards.
Yeah.
Not only do you not really like basketball, but you're watching entire games.
That's exactly what I want to be doing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then when we come back from halftime, Giannis scores, and it's very impressive. There are like 2 people guarding him, and he gets through them. It's impressive. Like what I was saying before, like there are people all over you, and they're still scoring.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
He might be like the best finisher in NBA history.
Hot.
Finish meaning like scoring. At the basket.
Yeah.
Like maybe better than anyone who's ever done. He's really, really good at that. And like once he's heading toward the basket, it's almost impossible to stop him.
So this is right at the end of the third quarter. They say Pritchard hasn't scored tonight, and the Celtics are, quote, just fine, which when they say this, the Celtics were up by 1. Which to me is not just fine, but I'm new to this. And it made me think, like, what would the Nuggets, like, if the Nuggets didn't have Jokic, would that be huge for them? Like, is he kind of carrying the team?
Yeah. Jokic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing because he's really unexpected.
He's amazing. I think there are like legitimate people who think he's like one of the, like in the running for one of the 10 best players ever.
He's number 3 in something ESPN just of all time.
Oh, really?
They just announced it yesterday.
Triple doubles, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's good. He's amazing.
Okay. Back to the crowd. They're about to go to the crowd cam, and there's someone on there who does not want to be found.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Ducking down, hiding?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You must have made up a story. What do you think is happening?
He's there with his girlfriend.
Mistress.
And his wife loves the Celtics, does not want to be seen. Him.
Oh, no. That's absolutely what was happening.
He put his hood over his face.
Yeah.
In the final quarter, there's a challenge by the Celtics. It was successful. Okay. So they do a challenge, and the call is for someone, I think, hitting his arms. But the slow-mo shows that Hauser hits the ball out of his hands first from underneath. So he's got the ball. Someone has the ball. on the Bucks.
Yeah.
And then this guy hits his arm. And so they call a foul. But when they look at the slow-mo, Hauser actually knocked the ball loose from underneath before he hits his arms.
Huh.
So it's not a foul because you're allowed to go underneath and kick the ball away from someone, I guess. He knocks the ball first.
Wow.
And so it's not a foul. Then he hits his arm.
It's very physical. This is another thing that people gripe about who have watched basketball for a long time. Replay is like relatively new within the last like 10 years or something like that. Looking back to say like, was that actually a foul? And people who have been watching for a long time are just like, the stoppages are brutal. Just like, let's go, just make a decision and go with it. They'll figure it out. And they say things like, when you watch a game from the 90s, they'll miss a call and nobody cares. They just, like, the players gripe about it for a second, just like they do now, and then they move on.
Well, the people who are complaining about it are going to be really sad when AI calls every single foul ever.
Yeah.
And misses nothing.
Right.
And then there's free throws all the time. Then who will be sorry?
So you watching this, you're probably the whole time like, let's go, come on, let's get this over with, or maybe not. Do you feel that way more strongly when there's a review?
No, I like the review because it slows it down and explains it to me.
Oh.
Like this, it's perfect for me.
Okay. They should review every call.
They should review every call. Like some of them, when they call a foul, I will stop. This takes me forever to get through because I'll stop it and rewind it. And sometimes you can set this to slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll like try and see it.
What the foul was.
Yeah. And I will not be able to figure out what it was. So it's nice when the announcers are like, that was so clearly explained.
Right.
I understood it.
Yeah. Now you know.
Now I know. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Okay. In a little bit, Lillard dunks.
Lillard does.
Yeah.
He's little.
And someone gets called for goaltending. And it's really interesting that JT calls to the ref about a foul while he's hanging from the rim.
He was already complaining while he was still on the rim.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. Here he goes.
Yeah. That looks great.
Yeah.
Good job.
He's kind of, I wonder how tall he is. He's not super tall either.
Okay. Then.
I bet that's the goaltend. Oh, yeah.
Yelling while he's hanging from the hoop. So Lopez hits the ball from inside the hoop.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Oh, yeah. His hand went up through.
Is that what goaltending is? Or is it just any kind of, once the ball is up there, you're pushing it away from the rim?
Yeah, you can't do that. And then you're not allowed to block a shot when the ball's on its way down.
Oh.
So
some geometry.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, Alice.
Yeah.
Thanks for teaching. Alice, that comment was directly from what I learned in your class last year.
And you're not allowed to touch the ball like after it's hit the backboard. So if someone goes to take a shot off the backboard, if it hits the backboard, you can't touch it.
Got it. Okay. So in a second, Hartford gets 3 from downtown.
Horford
gets 3 from downtown.
Yeah.
This is only the second time they mentioned downtown in this game. See, these ESPN people, they don't put up with that.
Don't muck around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did think of 2 more.
Let's have it.
How about instead of from downtown, how about you say from up on the housetop, click, click, click. Or from down through the chimney with good St. Nick.
I like the housetop better. It's far away.
From up on the housetop, click, click, click.
Oh, because 3 points.
See?
Yes.
Holiday cheer in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I really hope they're listening to us.
Yeah. Change is happening.
Okay, good for us. Okay, so that's all I have about the game, but I want to tell you about someone named Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
I looked him up. He's a really interesting guy. He comes from a basketball family. His parents met when they were both playing basketball at ASU. Both of his brothers are also in the NBA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I don't know what teams they play for. His younger sister played for UCLA, but I don't think she's not in the WNBA. Drew met his wife at UCLA when he was playing basketball and she was playing soccer.
Yeah.
You know what that's like?
Well, I don't. I really don't.
Okay.
My wife played soccer.
Right. That's my point. It was pretty cute. Like they had a little meet cute where they were at a game, and while Holiday was approaching his seat, someone asked him if he was Darren Collison and asked for his autograph. And he explained that he was not, in fact, that guy. And then his wife, who was sitting behind him, said, "Don't worry, you're cuter than Darren."
Aww.
And then they were actually both dating people at the time, but they got together later. Here's what's wild is that he took leave from the Pelicans because his wife was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
And then the following month, she had brain surgery only weeks after giving birth to their daughter. That was in 2016. And then in 2020, they had another baby. So I guess she's okay.
Yeah. I read an article about him and how he, I guess obviously, but he became a lot more resilient through that experience. He played for the Bucks a few years ago when they won that title.
Right.
He played for them. And then the Bucks really wanted to get Damian Lillard. And I think that Drew Holiday may have been in the trade to Portland where Damian Lillard came to Milwaukee. So he's thinking that they're going to be going for another title in Milwaukee.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's traded to the Trailblazers, who are not in the, they're not going to win anytime soon. They weren't in the running for a championship. And then shortly after that, he got traded to the Celtics. And last year was his first year with them, and they won a championship. He talked about how going through that roller coaster, he leaned a lot on kind of what he learned going through all of that with his wife.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's okay.
Me too.
Also, he's 91% at throwing free throws.
I love how you say throwing free throws. Don't ever not say that.
Thanks.
Because it's in the name. You throw them. Most people would say like a free throw shooting percentage or free throw percentage, not throwing free throws. But
not me.
Not you.
I'm not an authentic fan.
Well, it's a misnomer. They're free throws. That's what you do. You throw them.
Okay, then the Celtics win. Okay, MVP. I'm going to go the Little Funk Dancers. You didn't watch the game. Who's your MVP?
I want to call some more attention to the guy hiding from his spouse at home.
That's my LVP.
Oh, no, good for him. Nice try. You didn't say it looks like he's in the back row of the stadium.
It does.
No one behind him. He's got everything under control, and all of a sudden,
he's like acting like he's trying to get away with being like, she doesn't know that he's sneaking around because he's like taking her out in public. He's not like, let's meet at this restaurant that I heard about in another town.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I got tickets to the Celtics game. They're not very good, but it's because my buddy gave them to me. Do you want to go?
And his steady girlfriend, wife, whoever she is, maybe they live out of town. Maybe they're a little further away.
Yeah.
They're in the suburbs. Yeah. So he thought he was safe in the city.
Yeah. And she's home with the kids. And they probably fought about it anyway because he was like, what? It's guys' night.
Mark really wants me to go.
We should just go play pool.
Yeah.
One beer.
Yeah.
And then this happened.
So he's my MVP. He's your LVP.
I don't know. Maybe I'm persuaded. Maybe he's the LVP. We're rooting for you. We're pulling for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was going to be my LVP, and I only had the one. So do you have an LVP?
Maybe Peyton Pritchard, just a little come down to earth.
Yeah.
He but didn't play very well. So
get it together, Pritchard.
Yeah.
Most confusing part for me, honestly, they're the reviews we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm confused by that too.
Reviews of our podcast. Sam's mom, I hope you made it to the end.
Yeah, how do you not know I'm a good conversationalist?
Right?
We've talked.
But let's never tell her who I am.
No. I said we've mentioned her. She's babysat our kids. And my mom said, I remember the mentions.
You're doing a podcast with the babies.
Yeah. The of age babysitter. That's right.
What did you learn?
The Brooke Lopez, the Disney adult.
That is what I learned too. That an NBA player can be a Disney adult, which I just did not expect.
I'm endeared. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
I bet his life is, there'd be a pull toward being very serious, and he's resisting it.
He is. They all talk about like how, I mean, he just seems very friendly.
Wrap it up. This was fun.
This is fun. Okay. Bye.
Bye.